Securities offered through TJ Stearns, a registered representative of Crown Capital Securities LP, member FINRA SIPC. Content is intended to provide accurate information, however, is not intended as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a financial, legal, or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. Opinions expressed and provided are for general informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security.
Welcome to Protect and Grow with Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns of TJ Stearns Incorporated. Trust, respect, and results. TJ Stearns Incorporated focuses on comprehensive financial planning and benefits.
And welcome into the program. This is Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland CFP certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns, president and founder of TJ Stearns Inc., your resource, ladies and gentlemen, for a common sense approach to planning and, unfortunately, sometimes uncommon guidance and advice in the financial world. Well, you'll get it here on the Protect and Grow program. Guidance with your money, with your investments, with your finances, and with your planning to help you achieve your important financial goals. And Tim, a lot of the decisions we make with money may not even be about us. It's about the family and the loved ones and those that we care about. And that's what we're going to be talking about on today's edition.
Well, yes, exactly. And speaking of loved ones, happy Mother's Day to all those out there. My mom is 92 years old, best mom I've ever had, and she'll agree with that. And so I want to wish her a happy Mother's Day and all the moms out there.
Well, happy Mother's Day to you ladies, to your mothers out there listening. And of course, all the important moms in your lives, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to wish them a happy Mother's Day today as well. Tim, it sort of seems like a bit of a recurring theme around the Mother's Day holiday. We talk about caring for the family, caring for the loved ones. And then around Father's Day, we always talk about the financial tools. So I guess they're themes there a little bit, but
sure.
It is important. The decisions that we make with our money, oftentimes we are looking at it in the lens and in the filter of how will this impact my financial future? But so often it's broader than that. It's more far reaching. It does impact the loved ones, the spouse, the parents, the children, the grandchildren. We've heard the baby boomer generation called a lot of things. One of them that we are hearing an awful lot about is this factor and this sandwich generation phenomenon.
Right. Well, you see that a lot. I mean, what they're doing when you say sandwich generation, you're speaking of the fact that a lot of their moms and dads are still alive and they might need to be helping them, like I help my mom, and then you have people like that also helping their grandkids or their own kids getting through different things in life. Life happens. So you see them being kind of in the sandwich generation, being the fact that they're helping both sides of it. Right. So, but, they need to make sure that they take care of themselves as well.
And you've actually made no bones about it. In your family, you are the planner, but you've helped parents, you've helped siblings. Yep. You provide this kind of guidance to your own family and loved ones.
Exactly. They're good at what they do, and I think I'm good at what I do. So they know that when they have an issue, whether it be Social Security, Medicare, because my siblings are older than me, financial planning, investments, what have you, their little brother helps them with all that.
Well, it's great to have that resource, as you do. Chicagoland savers, investors, proactive planners, you've got the resource of a CFP, a certified financial planner professional, Tim Stearns. And if you've got questions or concerns, pick up the phone and give TJ Stearns Inc. a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. So, Tim, some of what we do with our money to protect our loved ones, our family, our spouses, really has to do with taking the right steps along the way, making sure that we are saving an appropriate amount, making sure that we are investing appropriately, making sure that we put certain protections in place. And we'll probably talk about all of those on the course of today's program.
Well, the analogy that you and I have talked about before is, when you're on a plane, then it loses, they talk about, the safety checks at the beginning, that if the plane loses pressure, take care of yourself first, then help those around you. because, the most important person at that moment is you, making sure you're okay so that you're able to help other people. So I would tell anyone out there that is a breadwinner, whether it's a female or male, that if you haven't gotten yourself in order, your family is not going to be in order if, God forbid, something happens to you. So we make sure that we're always working with people to make sure that they're set so that the whole family can be.
Well, Tim, when we look at the life spectrum of experience and kind of the progress that we make financially, one of the big pieces of protection that we put in place is often life insurance, not something that we intend to ever directly benefit from more often than not. Rather, it is a financial component that we put in place to protect our loved ones specifically. The need for life insurance rather can change and evolve over time, though, I think.
Well, we have a lot of people coming in to see us that had old plans, right? Like permanent insurance, whether it be whole life, universal life, et cetera. And they're finding that those policies don't have, for example, long-term care benefits, or they didn't perform how they wanted to. So it's never too late to redo that, because the plans now are much more cerebral, where they're going to encompass a lot of things that the people need. If you can't do 2 of your activities of daily living, a lot of these policies now have long-term care benefits to it. And so that's 7 out of 10 Americans over the age of 60 are going to need long-term care, and 9 out of 10 of us don't have that insurance. So if they have an old policy, we can come in here and kind of do an MRI on it, take it apart, and see if there's something that's a fit. It's not a fit all the time, but most cases it has been, and the people are really happy. I just had a woman in the other day who had a death benefit of $500,000 that was just a pure life insurance death benefit, right? Well, if something happens to her now, we just got her a new plan. Her family will receive $550,000. And if, God forbid, she needs long-term care, it's got living benefits. And that is absolutely huge for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And for ourselves, the ability to cover costs, maintain a quality of life, but also for the financial protection for our family to give ourselves the ability to pay for that standard of living without having to impact, affect, and drain down the assets of our family members, of our loved ones, without having to monopolize their time in forcing somebody who cares about us to step in and fill that role. So many valuable components to that, Tim, but it sounds like there's a big disparity in the number of people who have addressed this concern versus the number of people who are likely to need to address this concern at some point in time.
Exactly. I think people, they don't want to look at that as being an issue, but, no one wants to be a burden on their family. So this is an opportunity to, again, take care of yourself so that you're able to help other people down the road. And whether that looks like, someone taking care of you so that they don't have to, that's a thing. And so I think people need to realize that, make sure you have your affairs in order so that you're not, belaboring people to help you at all times.
And so, Tim, these newer types of life insurance policies are actually helping to fill in some of the gaps where maybe we don't have long-term care insurance or can't afford long-term care insurance, or maybe long-term care insurance is not available or a viable option. Maybe this life insurance version of the linked benefits and the acceleration utilization of the benefit for long-term care expenses is available.
It is. And, it's interesting because some people actually, have gotten better ratings years down the road, or the life insurance has eased up a little bit on different things. So it's definitely worth kicking the tires and looking into it, because it can only benefit you. What's the worst that a life insurance company can say is no, but if you have a 7 out of 10 chance that you're going to need it, can you imagine not even looking into it? I can't. You have to do it.
And Tim, before the program today, you mentioned that this is also something now to consider maybe more than ever, especially since the passing of the Secure Act. What's the reason why the Secure Act, which mostly, as I understand it, had to deal with IRAs and retirement accounts, would give us a reason to revisit and look at life insurance differently?
Well, a lot of people don't know what the Secure Act is. We ask our classes, we ask clients when they come in, we've sent out lots of newsletters about this, but it's been around since 2019. And basically what happens is after someone passes, if they don't have a spouse, in most cases, you're going to have to drain that account, that IRA, within 10 years, which, most people don't want to have to drain an account within 10 years. They used to be able to do what they call a stretch IRA based on their age. So in my example, if God forbid something happens to my mom, she's 92. Nowadays, under the new Secure Act, I have to take out the money at a 92-year-old's rate, which is obviously going to be much more than a 50-year-old rate, my age. So that's something. The other thing is, Secure Act 2.0 just passed a couple of weeks ago in the House. So that's probably coming down the pipeline too. And the big thing there is that they're going to move it back eventually to the age 75, where you have to do required minimum distributions. Now, a lot of my listeners have called me on this and said, well, now they're just going to make the nest egg of the IRA bigger, right? Because it's going to have more years to grow. That's, making the taxes even bigger. So these are things that we get ahead of. Most people, 3 weeks ago were worried about their taxes. What we're trying to tell people is look down the road and try to get ahead of it and be proactive, not reactive.
Yeah, for retirement accounts, specifically tax deferred retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, and the like. The end to the stretch IRA, basically, Tim, amounted to a de facto death tax in the fact that those accounts had to be liquidated and all taxes paid within 10 years. And I think that the timing of when they're targeting here is advantageous to them. It is well timed to hit those accounts and tax them at the highest level possible, because if the owner of the account's no longer around and has passed that on, they're not going to complain too much about it. And when the recipient receives the account, unless they understand the implications here of these changes, then it really is forcing them to pay a much higher tax burden, or potentially pay a higher tax liability than they otherwise would have had to previously.
Well, the Secure Act has essentially knocked out a lot of the money that people thought they were going to have down the road, that they could kind of nibble on the tax bill. Instead, it speeds everything up, and within 10 years, it has to be, down to zero. Now, it doesn't have to happen in the first year. It could happen year after year for 10 years, or you could wait till the 10th year. But either way, the money has to be out of the account within 10 years. And I think that changes a lot of people's estate planning, issues, because they're like, oh my gosh, I thought we could be able to stretch this. Instead, while I'm in my best working years, I'm going to have to take out all this money, which is just going to add to my tax bill.
Once again, we're talking with Tim Stearns, CFP. If you've got any questions or concerns, pick up the phone, give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. So, Tim, where does then and now life insurance play into this conversation as a potential tool or solution for this issue?
Well, the best thing I can say about life insurance is any benefit to it would be, especially the life insurance being tax-free to your heirs or to whoever you name as a beneficiary. Under current laws, that's how it looks. So maybe the life insurance would not only help with long-term care components and that type of thing, but also to help your heirs pay down this tax bill that just got handed to them. That's one thing. The other thing is, with federal estate taxes sunsetting in 2025 down to $5 million, if Congress moves things down so that they can capture more of the middle class, well, guess what? The life insurance becomes even more valuable to the heirs because it can help pay off, this debt that they're going to have. I always ask people, did you work your whole life so you could have your kids leave them money? Well, that's nice, but now they're going to have to pay all these different taxes, whether it be in IRA forms or estate taxes. Life insurance kills a lot of birds with one stone.
Well, here's, Tim, where we began kind of the conversation, saying that the life changes and evolves. The need and the value of life insurance can change and evolve over time. I think for most younger families getting things started, buying a house, if they have children, if they have debts, if they have a spouse that they'd want to take care of. There is a specific need for including life insurance as part of the planning picture. But for a lot of us, and I don't know if we're taught this or if it's just kind of insinuated, there's a prevalent belief out there, I think, that once we reach retirement, there's not a great need for life insurance to continue to be in place. But what you're saying, it sounds like, Tim, is that it can provide an awful lot of ongoing protection and even some estate planning value.
So back to my earlier point is that a lot of these people bought life insurance to take care of the kids. Well, now the kids are grown up and that's great. And they're out having great jobs. Well, now it might be time to have some things like long-term care components, living benefits. And now since December of 2019, you're looking at maybe having to pay some estate taxes that, larger income taxes and maybe even estate taxes.
So, Tim, how do we calculate how much life insurance we should be considering or we should have or would be appropriate?
Well, I mean, that comes along with an income allocation plan, as always, budget in there. One of the gentlemen that called into our radio show a couple of weeks ago was really happy that, according to him, I saw the whole landscape. That's how he said it, because he had worked with another advisor who just did investments, and the guy had never covered Roth conversions with them, long-term care, the absence of long-term care or life insurance, and the needs that even in old age, you might still need life insurance. Oh, my kids are out of the house. Well, yeah, your kids are out of the house earning good money so that when you pass, there's going to be a tax bill. Maybe you can help them with that by having some permanent life insurance that will help pay that down.
And you just hinted toward it, but Tim, there are different types of insurance, and sometimes that can get confusing. So what are the different types, and are there some that are more appropriate than others or different uses at different times?
Okay, so there's different life insurances like we're saying here. So number one, there'd be term insurance, right? And usually it's around 10 to 20, maybe even 30 years. After you're done with those terms, meaning 10 years, the 11th year it goes away, or you might have to pay an exorbitant amount or get reinsured. But there's no cash value left there. There's whole life and universal life, and that's tied basically to what interest rates are doing. A lot of people have that in Chicagoland. They have different companies that are pretty well known for their life insurance. And then the one that we really like here is fixed index universal life. There's some really good companies out there that have things like return of premium if you don't use the long-term care benefits. They build a cash value that people can take out if they need it for different things. And then, of course, it has a death benefit. But the last thing that I really like about some of the new fixed index universal lives is that they have the ability to take down some of the money from the death benefit to use for care, whether it's in a nursing home or at your own home.
Well, one thing that we learned during the course of the pandemic, and then as we have seen in other circumstances, Tim, is that when there is a crisis, it seems like it's harder to get these things in place. And it's harder to get life insurance when it seems most people recognize they really need it. And therefore, we got to be proactive. We got to think in advance on this one, don't we?
Yes. I mean, it amazes me that people always worry about their tax bill after the year that has just passed, right? Well, this is something else that we can also get ahead of. Make sure that you are taking care of the homestead by having some life insurance that has living benefits that's going to help pay down, maybe there's estate taxes. It's also going to help pay down, the tax bill that you're going to have by having all this drainage from an IRA within 10 years during some of our best earning years.
Well, again, if you would like any help, assistance, if you would like to take a look at your plan, if you'd like to put together that income allocation, and we're talking about a specific issue today in providing care and financial support for our families and everything that goes into providing that support for our loved ones. But the income allocation plan can help you spot and identify many different financial aspects, the fees that you're paying, the risks that you're taking, the taxes that you may be liable for into the future, how to include and incorporate Social Security and pensions into your financial decisions and make sure that you are making optimal decisions with those tools available. Pick up the phone, give a call. Tim Stearns, not only talking about the importance of and the value of an income allocation here on the program and overviewing what all that includes, but does make the valuable offer and really the most valuable component of this program, the ability for you to get that kind of plan put together. A review, a strategy session, a discussion of your money and your goals, and then the planning time with a CFP to sit down and put that plan together. No cost, no obligation. All you need to do is pick up the phone and give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim, really is a pretty critical consideration. Seeing the prevalence of newly entering poverty into and throughout retirement is kind of a scary picture. That income allocation style of planning is specifically designed to help us avoid kind of loss of that quality of life as we move through retirement.
Absolutely. Having a plan is so important to retirement. We talk about this all the time in my class. I'll ask someone in the class, "Hey, John, I'm going to redo your house. Right? And how's it look? Well, we want to do this, that, and the other thing." And I say, "All right, let me come back to you." And I come back, and I say, "Yeah, I'm ready to do it." And they say, "Well, where are the plans?" And I say, "I don't have any. We're just going to wing it." And it gets a laugh in the classroom, right? And I say, "Would you have signed up with me?" Absolutely not. No way. Run, do not walk away from that conversation, right? Well, people are doing this in life, with life insurance, with their income. How are they going to get ahead of it if they don't make a plan? And I don't understand how you can go through a retirement successfully without a plan.
Well, again, if you would like to get that kind of plan put together, or if you'd like to read the definitive book on the subject, income allocation, you can give a call to TJ Stearns Inc., to Tim Stearns CFP here on the Protect and Grow program, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim does offer 10 copies of the book per program to the first 10 callers with at least $500,000 saved for retirement. You can get a copy of this valuable resource in your hands, this essential retirement planning strategy guidebook being used across the country, income allocation. 800-640-2256 is the number to call, 800-640-2256. You can additionally request the time to sit down with Tim Stearns CFP and look over your situation, discuss the specifics and the details, and get your specific concerns addressed. Questions answered. 800-640-2256. Tim, at the end of it all, we've got to really have open and honest conversations with our family and loved ones. Having family members in the dark about aspects of our finances really serves no favors to them. It is not advantageous in achieving not only our goals, but also the transfer of our values onto those that we care about.
Well, you and I have talked about this before, but you have an older man who's in charge of the family, and the hierarchy of it. And I got everything taken care of. I got a guy, he took care of it. Well, not knowing is pretty scary. The other day, I had someone in my family that we had to ask them, when you say that you have it under control, what does that mean? And have you done this? Have you done that? And thank God they had covered the whole gamut, and everything was great. But not everyone does that. I just saw a stat the other day where 60% of Americans don't have a will. And if you live in Cook County, which is the biggest county in the state of Illinois, your probate timing is like probably about 2 years, where you might need to want to get after money that you need for this, that, and the other thing, and you can't for 2 years. So these are things that, I would tell people, be open with someone in your family so that they know how to unlock the secret that you have, so that everything's spelled out. I know my mom has done an excellent job with my brother, who's the executor and the trustee of her estate, to say, this is where this is where that is, because, like my mom has said, I won't be here, tongue in cheek, but she won't be here to tell us what's what But luckily, we have a blueprint and we know how to get there.
And I know that you are not an attorney, but there is a team approach there at TJ Stearns, and you've got attorneys that you work with and coordinate with and work hand in hand on the planning. But Tim, how important is it to have those documents in place? If we're talking about caring for loved ones, how much more difficult or how much more simple does having those documents and having those legal pieces in place determine the outcome?
Well, I'll give you an example. My mom had a brother who was never married and never had any children. And when he died, he did not have a will. And none of us knew that. And my grandparents' house that he inherited, for 2 years, it sat there. Anytime it needed work on it done, we had to go to the courts and, get money out of the estate. It was a nightmare. And that was a very simple estate. Can you imagine if you have different properties and all that good stuff? You need to make sure that you meet with an attorney to make sure your affairs are in order and that you can speak from beyond the grave if there's, nuances that you want in there. That's why I'm glad that we have John O'Connor with us as an estate attorney. He does everything that we need for people, and he's outstanding.
Well, on this program, we have addressed the financial protections that we strive to offer our family and our loved ones, and all of the considerations that we have to take and the facts that we will need to look at in order to support not only ourselves, but to support our family and provide them the care financially that we strive for. If you've got questions or concerns, pick up the phone, give TJ Stearns Inc. a call. Tim Stearns, CFP, is your resource, Chicagoland savers and investors, for that common sense approach to planning and to make sure that you've squared away all of these items, that you've got that plan in place, not only to support yourself, your lifestyle, your lifetime, but also to pass the value and the values on to your family members and those that you care about. Give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. Tim, always a pleasure. We appreciate you not shying away from some of the sometimes tougher, but always important topics here on the Protect and Grow program.
It's my pleasure, Peter. Thank you.
Tune into Chicagoland Certified Financial Planner Tim Stearns' full radio program on 890 WLS every Sunday at 11 a.m. and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Securities offered through TJ Stearns, a registered representative of Crown Capital Securities LP, member FINRA SIPC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.